hi, it's Kala. So I wanted to make a brief video just talking a little bit about faith and what is faith from a perspective that isn't specific to any one religion or spiritual tradition. What I have noticed, and if you watch my spirit messages, you'll see, and I hope I'll put a link below, and Percy behind the camera is going nuts trying to catch a bee, and I think he will catch it. So forgive me if I'm like distracted, but anyway, what I'm noticing is a lot of people in this time period seem to be in a lot of pain, and what I see missing in some cases is faith. I was really moved this morning, and so I just want to talk a little bit about that. I feel, and I've read this, and it makes sense that faith isn't, faith isn't about when everything is going really well, and and we're in a beautiful flow with our life. Things are going the way we want them. Things feel easy, right? It feels easy. That doesn't require any faith. Faith is called in when you are challenged, when things are not going the way that you would like, and he's about to knock something over. Okay, hopefully he won't, because it's about to knock my incense stand over, because the bee is right behind the incense stand. Anyway, so faith is something, there are people who say are very religious, and yet when the time to religion and spirituality isn't about the outward trappings of it, right? Going to the service, doing the outward things that people can see, in my opinion, the most important part is the inner part, where I'll put myself in there, when we need to call on our faith when things are not going well. That's when your true level of belief is called into question, and that's when you need to draw on it and pull that out, pull it, tap into your heart and say, I read these texts and these verses and I say I believe this, so how can I really live this faith? How can we make our faith a living, breathing thing when we need it? And that's what I see that is very difficult for people. It has been very difficult for me in the past, and so now it is something, as I said, it's coming up around me, and so I'm also then looking, because I think the world mirrors us back, different aspects of us, or we'll see them because they do relate to us in some way. So, how to draw on our faith, whatever our religious or spiritual background. Oh, you got it. Oh, no, it's still alive. It's still be for long. How can we draw on our faith when we're deeply challenged, when things don't go well? I have a friend who recently got some very negative news that upset her, and I'm just feeling like, life, especially from the Buddhist tradition, is a constant series of ups and downs. There's no absolute in our day-to-day lives. There's no, you're going to hit a state of where things stop going wrong. Instead, it's said life is suffering, or suffering is inevitable in life. Suffering meaning discomfort or something you don't want, death of a loved one, losing those we do love, or those we don't love staying around, actually, which sounds funny, but it's true. That's suffering. So how can we tap into our faith? I just want to say that I think that that's something to introspect about and say, am I really calling on my faith? When I need it, how can I tap into it? Is it reading spiritual texts of your tradition? Can we make a habit, maybe a daily habit, of reading uplifting and supportive text from whatever spiritual tradition you are in? Can we literally just have time also after that to contemplate and basically almost talk to ourselves, to self-nurture and say it's going to be okay. Really then maybe pull in affirmations, you know. Talk to yourself in a loving way, the way a very good parent would talk to a child, you know. You will learn how to deal with this, you will cope with it, you have the strength. So I would just say the first step, perhaps reading or listening to supportive spiritual information. And then the second step, literally having quiet time to contemplate and talk with yourself about the problem. What I'm seeing so much is people, when something goes wrong for us, we're just running around trying to fix it without really pulling back and getting clear first on what we want. And so this does get into manifestation, which I prefer to law of attraction. But we need to go within ourselves when things are not working, tap into our faith, and then stabilize ourselves through meditation, through prayer, through reading, or through listening to information and spiritual guidance. Okay, I mean that's what I really recommend. If you find that you're spinning, you know, out of control, don't just, of course, there are different things people reach for, medications, you know, as they may be needed, or support from friends and so on, and that's great support, therapeutic support. But I feel like there are spiritual things that we can do, as I mentioned, reading, listening to or watching positive, spiritually uplifting information and guidance, taking some quiet time to really contemplate what do we want out of the situation. Are there ways that we might have influenced it or co-created it? And then we can figure out what steps we actually need to take from a place of belief, from a place of positive belief. So I just wanted to mention that. I'm going to be working on this myself. As I said, a lot of folks around me, I'm trying to help, and I see that what has been lacking for them is faith, and it is a hard thing. But if we can say positively a sense of hope, a sense that things can change, that things can improve, then we'll be able to make it through difficult times if we can have that faith. Hope this was helpful. I'd love your comments below. If you have questions or would like to share anything, is there a particular text or quote that helps you? And actually, I'm going to go there. I just thought of it. One of my favorite quotes, and I think I have a video where I just repeat it. It's not so much spiritual as inspirational, and I'm going to start it and then try to recite the whole thing. Okay, so it's a long prose, a poem. I'm going to actually do a video on that, and I may have already done one way in the past, but this will be different, of course, as we grow and change. But what I'll quote is the very last lines that I find very helpful. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. So I love that quote. And I find it just helps me a lot to get psyched up. I'm going to, if you're interested in the full piece, I'm going to make another video on that. Namaste. Bye-bye.